Good morning, everyone. Good morning. My apologies because I had some technical difficulty this morning. Things weren't working out. I was ready to go like 15 minutes ago, and things just did not work out the way I wanted to. But we're going to go ahead and get started doing this Sonic the Hedgehog. You guys voted, and you guys wanted me to draw Sonic the Hedgehog and friends in a Marvel style. So good morning to everyone in the chat that's coming in. Hello, everybody. Good to see you all. Make sure that if you want to ask me a question today, make sure that you go to the community tab. That's where you do it, all right? You have to go to my channel, go to your channel, especially if you're on desktop, okay? But you could also do this on your phone too. I've done it on my phone. Go to the community channel, or go to my YouTube page. Go to the community tab, so you'll see shorts, live, playlist, community, and the top post there. It's 1110 question thread. That is where you ask me questions for me to answer during this particular stream. I quickly, I quickly glance at the chat here and there, but I don't really look as often. So make sure that you do that. Okay. So if you want to ask me a question, you want me to answer during the stream, that is the best time. I only answer the chat questions when we finish the stream, but we're going to go ahead and start drawing this Sonic the Hedgehog in a Marvel style, in other words, with muscles. That's what we do. That was a question yesterday. Like, what's the difference between a Marvel style and a DC style? It's whatever gets a little bit more views, at the same time. Because again, Marvel, in comic books, there's multiple styles. You can do whatever you want in comic books. I remember back in the day where it was nobody was doing any painted comic books. I remember that time. There was a time when nobody would paint the comics. And when I'm saying painting, like Alex Ross style paintings. Well, like Alex Ross was the trailblazer in that sense. He was the first one to bring like a painted style, like somebody actually taking paint and creating comics with it. He was the first one to do so. Okay, so I'm gonna start off by trying to draw Sonic's face traditionally first, and then I'm gonna see how I could quote unquote Marvelize it, because right now I'm not even liking that. So again, guys, I apologize. This morning things haven't been, it's one of those days where things aren't going 100% your way. You would like them to go your way. Oh, look, our dad and the Misfits again sends another super chat. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for doing that. I really appreciate that. Also, my buddy Mario is here. Good to see you, Mario. Good to see you guys here, and good to see all of you guys in the chat today. So, for the most part, here's the deal, guys. What I don't want to do is turn this into Sonic, the original VFX that they did for Sonic, where people just did a violent reaction. So the same way that I did the Dragon Ball stuff. Okay, so I did the Dragon Ball before. I gave it a very Americanized face. And people were like really hated it. Oh, pretty much looked like a Hulk with that Goku wig. That's what it looked like. And then I did one where pretty much I kept the Toriyama style, and people responded to that more. Sonic's very similar to that, where he has a specific look, he has a specific way people want him to be drawn, and I want to make sure that it has that feel, but then keeping. So that's the challenge here today, guys. That is the challenge. How do I keep that Sonic feel, but still maintain that quote unquote Marvel style that I want to do here? And that's gonna be the challenge here. Okay, it's more than just the muscles. It's definitely more than just the muscles. So that's something we're gonna be working on today. And yes, I did do Sonic before. Yes, that is true. But what makes this different is I remember the first time I did the Sonic. I was in a rush that day. So I remember I had to go somewhere that day. That was the day I was doing. That was the day I was doing a stream every day, like we're doing now, and I had somewhere to go that day. So I didn't have a limited amount of time. So I asked them, let's just do one or two characters, and just leave it at that. And that's what we're doing today, as you can already see. Sonic with muscles. That's what we're doing today. And thank you guys for voting. So this was chosen by you guys. This was chosen by you guys. You guys picked Sonic to draw today. Not totally unexpected. I'll be honest. I did kind of want to do the Sesame Street. Because I had an idea of how to do that. So maybe we'll do that one day. But definitely, so the next day or two, we are going to be doing Sonic and Friends. That's what we're going to be doing today. So, in terms of Sonic and Friends, so pretty much we're going to be looking at Tails. We are going to be looking at Knuckles, of course. Well, not really a friend, but... And I'm thinking Shadow. We're going to draw Shadow as well. And... I'm going to draw Shadow as well. And we're going to draw maybe a Dr. Robotnik in here as well. Okay, so those will be the 5. Whenever I do pieces now, guys, we're looking at 5. Like, I'm not going to do hundreds of characters. You know, if I wanted to do, like, another Pokemon thing, I think Sonic is a great candidate for that, if I did. If I did a large, like, Pokemon piece, you know? And those large pieces were a lot of fun. And maybe I will do another one of these days. Maybe sometime next year. We'll take a month. And I'm going to... I'm going to take a month and I'm going to, do a really, really large piece. And I'll work on it every day. Kind of like, how we did the old Star Wars mural back in the day. But we'll see. It all depends. It all depends on my mood. Sonic's been working out. He's been going to the Marvel gym. Going to those Marvel trainers, man. You know those, I think people want to go work on a Marvel movie. It's not because they actually want the role. It's because they want to get in shape. That's why. But to get into shape, those Marvel, to go from where they were to be in, like, a Marvel shape, a lot of those guys, that they spend a whole year of their life just training, just training. So it's not easy to get into that Marvel shape, and apparently this Sonic here is in Marvel shape. He's gonna get jacked leg muscles, of course. He's gonna get big jacked leg muscles. Mac tackle. That's right. He should have big leg muscles. And it makes sense because he's a runner. But runners are very lean. Runners can be very lean. The short and it's a difference, right? If you watch the Olympics, right? If you watch like the short distance runners, like the people who run the 100-meter and the 200 and the 400-meter, you see those guys are pretty jacked, right? They're more on the jack side. More musculature jack side. But you look at the endurance runners, like the people who run like for hours on the Olympics, those are like the extremely, extremely skinny dudes. Right? You notice that? They're the skinny guys, right? They're the skinny guys. Mr. Broken likes what he's saying. There you go. I appreciate that. So Maria's asking if I answered questions. I have not started answering questions, but why don't I go ahead and do that right now? Well, by the way, guys, if you have a suggestion for a topic, like yesterday, we did my top 10, or not top 10, but I ranked the MCU yesterday. If you want me to do something like that today, because that was a lot of fun, why don't we go ahead and do that right now? Also, a shout out to TD Bricks, who's killing it on the internet right now, because I'm using his playlist here for the music. For those of you who are listening, watching me draw, I'm using his playlist today. So that's what we are doing. You know, I just realized I didn't turn on the other camera. Of course I didn't. Let me just turn on the other camera quickly here, guys. Give me a second. Oh, I'm not even recording on the other camera. I'm just off today. Just a little bit off today. Just a little bit. Hold on one second, guys. Let me just focus my camera while I go ahead, and I'm going to start answering some questions, okay? So, but if you guys have a suggestion of what I could talk about today, by all means, please do let me know. Please do let me know. So why don't we go ahead, and I'm going to start off by answering a question. Maybe I could get some topic ideas out of this one, okay? So let's go ahead and start with my buddy Mario, since he asked. Yeah. By the way, Mario asked if I drank coffee. I had some caffeine. I do take, and again, not recommended, guys. Not recommended. Okay, but I do have these caffeine pills that I take. It's just a quick way for me to get some caffeine in me without drinking a whole cup of coffee. Because each of these medication I take, it's again, not recommended, guys, especially if you're young. Don't take this stuff, okay? But one of them is equivalent to 1 cup of coffee. So it's just a very fast way for me to drink a coffee and get the effects of it, especially since we are waking up so early. I woke up at about 2:30 today. 2:30 today. Okay, but guys, if you could get away without drinking coffee, especially that you guys that are very young, you know, it's better. Of course, it's better if you don't drink any coffee, but you know, all the artists drink coffee, so what can you do? Right. Let's see here. I will answer a question from our dad, who generously donated earlier today. The new Transformers Beast movie, would you draw another most detailed piece of one of them? Maybe. Let's take a look, but I will be doing a Transformers piece soon, because my brother-in-law, he got for me this really cool, and I mentioned this before, a really cool statue of Optimus Prime and Jetfire. And I believe, was that from the third movie or the fourth? I believe that's the third movie. And you know how they combine together? So he got me that. So it's going to be delivered. I think it's coming from the Philippines. It's going to be delivered. And when I get it, first of all, I'm going to be putting it together on stream, which will be a lot of fun. We're going to put it together on stream. And then I'm going to draw a version of it. That's what I plan to do. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm super excited. I'm super duper excited to do that. So we'll see how that goes. All right. But let's go ahead and answer some of these questions. So let's start with my buddy Mario, because Mario's the best. He's also being the moderator today. You're the best, Mario. You're always the best. So, hi, James. My question is how to get Marvel to be interested in my work, to get me a job as a comic book artist. What kind of work I need to do to be seen? That's a fantastic question. And now, first of all, take what I say with a grain of salt, guys. Take what I say with a grain of salt, mainly because I haven't worked as a comic book artist for Marvel in... when was the last time I worked for Marvel? Almost 20 years, guys. I won't say what are we in? 2022? Last time I worked for Marvel, I believe it was 2005, 2006, something like that. Though, you know, I have a lot of friends that work in Marvel, but also, to be honest, I haven't tried to go back working for Marvel. I have had friends who are editor-in-chiefs at Marvel. So let me start that by, you know what, that's a good place to start. That's a good place to talk. That's a good place to talk about. Something to talk about today. Let me tell you about my Marvel journey, okay? So, Mario, you could, hopefully you could get little tidbits of what I talk about today. Let's talk about my whole comic book journey. Why don't we talk about that, okay? So that's what, as I draw Sonic today, that's what we're going to talk about, is my comic book journey. Okay, my journey as a comic book artist. So let's start off. I always wanted to be a comic book artist. Okay, I always wanted to be a comic book artist. No, I take that back. I never always wanted to be a comic book artist. I want to be all sorts of things. I want to be a fireman, a doctor, a minister. There were lots of things I wanted to be growing up. I think anything with a uniform, anything that I would. You could wear a cool suit, right? Back in the day. When you're a kid, that's all you really care about. You don't care about the money. You don't care about the money. Like vast differences between a doctor and a fireman in terms of pay, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But so you don't think about money when you're a kid. You're thinking more, what cool uniform are you gonna wear? Okay, I'm gonna go in with the ink now, guys. But I think it was always a hobby. Drawing was always a hobby. I never thought it was going to be a full-time job for me. Yeah, it never really clicked. It never clicked until my last year of high school. Never clicked until my last year of high school where I was like, man, wouldn't it be cool to do this for a living? To draw, do nothing but draw for a living. And once I realized that, then everything kind of fell into place, okay? So again, my first job was at a place called Dreamwave Productions. And let me tell you how I got that job, okay? So Dreamwave at the time, they were an imprint of Image Comics. I think a lot of you guys know what Image Comics is. It's where Skybound publishes most of their books. So if you don't know Skybound, you're talking about The Walking Dead. You're talking about Invincible. So for you youngins who don't know what Image Comics is, but Image Comics like revolutionized the industry way back in the 90s. But we won't get too much into that history, okay? But when so Dreamwave, they were making quote unquote waves back then, okay? Yes, Justin, Spawn as well. So that might be one. You know, it's always hard to tell this generation what Image Comics is, like the younger generation, Gen Z, because I'm trying to think of properties that came out of Image Comics, and there's not much that's mainstream. I think the only ones that mainstream, Invincible, of course, Invincible, Walking Dead. I think those are like the ones that are the most popular. But anyway, The Boys. Was The Boys? No, Boys was a different imprint. But anyway, going off tangent. So I took technical illustration, and I'll go into school another time. That's a story for another day. I took technical illustration, and then for my internship, okay, because you needed a work placement. One place I wanted to go to was Dreamwave, because number one, you know, they were an established comic book company or comic book studio in the business. The guy running the studio, Pat Lee, he was starting to make waves as an artist. Before he started off as there's one of my favorite artists, Stephen Platt. He started off like as a Stephen Platt clone, quote unquote clone, before. So he used to draw extremely differently before he came upon a style which he tried, and he decided to go ahead and try to publish it through Image Comics. He tried a style very similar to what a Japanese anime, okay? Japanese anime style. So not a manga style, okay? Not a manga style. That's a very important distinction. It was a Japanese anime style, not a manga style, okay? So he wanted the look and feel like you're drawing a movie or you're watching a anime movie. That's the style he wanted, and nobody was doing that at that time. Okay, this is like late 1990s, and he hit it big with a title called Dark Minds, and then he started this whole studio. Now this studio is based in Markham, Ontario, which is not too far from here. It's about a good 40 from where I live right now. It's about a good 40-minute drive. A little bit less than that, like half an hour drive if there's no traffic. So I wanted to work there. I wanted to be an intern there, right? I wanted to learn. So let me tell you how I got in contact with that particular company. So I believe it was Fan Expo Canada. I put a portfolio together, as a lot of artists do. And Mario, just to answer part of your question. This is a long answer, Mario. Long answer. But part of your question. Part of a way to get noticed, okay? It's a little easier now because people just use the internet, okay? And we'll get into that in a second. But back in the old days, the only way you could really, really get someone to notice you is to make a portfolio sample, make portfolio samples, and then bring them to a convention, okay? bring them to a comic book convention where hopefully you get to meet some editors, and hopefully you could get either some feedback or a promise that hopefully they have some work for you. Okay, that's the way they did it back then, and that's a good way to do it now, to meet these workers meet these editors face to face. Okay, so I made a sample, and really my purpose at this convention was to catch the eye of a company called Top Cow. Okay, Top Cow, for those of you guys don't know, they publish what's a popular IP from Top Cow, guys? Help me out here. That the young people would know. I'm trying to think of a property that the young people would know that came from Top Cow. I don't think there's any right now, but they published some of my favorite stuff back in the day. Witchblade. There's a comic called Witchblade. The Darkness, Cyberforce. Like if there was a book that I would have loved to draw when I was younger, it would be Cyberforce. I would have loved to draw Cyberforce. That would have been fantastic. Maybe I'll draw that on my channel one of these days, but nobody would know what I'm drawing. So I did a sample. Okay, so when I say sample, and then this is another point here, guys. If you want to get a job in art, you have to prove that you can do that job. Okay, people don't care that you can do a pinup, and they don't care if you can do a pinup. All right, what they care about is, can you draw comics? Can you do sequential art? Can you do storyline? So of course, it all starts. If you want to get a job in comics, it all starts from creating samples, from creating sample artwork that shows that you could do the job. And the number one job of a comic book artist is storytelling. It's not how you render it. It's how you tell a story. Just like I was telling you guys yesterday, the job of a concept artist is much, it's different and way different than a comic book artist, right? The concept artist, their job is to make ideas. Okay, it's not about the rendering. The job of a comic book artist, it's not just the rendering also. It's about the storytelling. Can you tell a story? Can you tell a story using what we call sequential art and sequential storytelling? That's the most important thing when it comes to a comic book art, okay? So for those of you who want to be comic book artists, but all you're doing is trying to make YouTube videos, okay, or art that looks good on TikTok, that's not going to get you a job. That won't, okay? It might get you noticed, but it won't get you the job. What will get you the job is doing the sequential art. And Mario, I know that you're doing sequential art already. I believe have you showed me some, Mario, if I'm not mistaken? I think you showed me some. But anyway, so that's what I did. I made a sample. I believe I did a 4-page sample of, what was it? I think I did, there was a game called Fear Effect back in the day. Well, I believe it was called Fear Effect. And then I did a sample of that, 4-page sample. And then I also did a sample of a character called Ripclaw. Ripclaw, I did a 4-page sample of a character called Ripclaw. And the way I drew back then, guys, I drew pretty similar to how I draw now. Okay, I draw in a more, Jim Lee. Like Jim Lee's my hero, right? Jim Lee, as a lot of our heroes, his style is how I kind of wanted to draw. That's how I wanted to draw, more Jim Lee style. So that's what my portfolio looked like. Like I look like a Jim Lee clone. A not so good Jim Lee clone. That's what I look like. So I went to Top Cow first, and Matt Hawkins, who's still one of the bigwigs at Top Cow right now, I met him, and he took a look at my portfolio, and he liked it. He liked it a lot. He saw it, and then he's like, "Oh, you got some great stuff here." He said, "Okay, why don't I bring this back?" And maybe we could get you started doing some backgrounds. That's what he told me. This is a Top Cow. Why don't we get you started doing some backgrounds, and then I'll give you the number to the studio. I'm like, hooray! Great. So I had my first contact there. Okay, but then walking down, I saw the Dreamwave booth. Okay, and there was a guy working there. His name's Sigmund Torre, a good friend of mine. He was probably one of my better friends when I was working at Dreamwave. But I met him over there, and I didn't think anything of it. I'm like, oh, these guys aren't going to be interested in my stuff. They're an anime, they draw in the anime style. They're not going to like my Jim Lee clone-esque art. But I went there anyway, and it's like, hey man, did you want to see my artwork? So like, sure, Sigmund is a fantastic guy. He's a hilarious dude. He's just one of those guys you just like to hang around. He's the guy who always he's the guy who keeps the conversation going. When you're a group of guys, he's the guy that gets everybody talking. He's the guy that's the conversation starter. He is the extrovert, right? I really wish I was like Sigmund. He's living in the Philippines now. But anyway, so I showed him my portfolio, and he was taking a look and like, oh yeah, man, this stuff's great. This stuff's great. And he goes, yeah, man, contact us, and he gave me a card. Because one thing he really liked was I took one of the Dreamwave images. One of the Dreamwave, I think it was a Dark Minds pinup. Oh no, I take that back. I drew a Dark Minds pinup. That's right. See, apologies, old age, guys. I'm trying to remember how the story went. I drew a Dark Minds pinup, and what actually he liked better was the coloring. He liked the way I colored it, because I colored it more in a Dreamwave type style. So he liked that, and he said, "Okay, why don't you call us?" So flash forward a couple weeks later, guys. Flash forward a couple of weeks later. I'm waiting for calls from these guys. Nobody calls. Nobody calls. Like Matt Hawkins didn't give me a contact number or anything, so I didn't get anything from him. And then I'm trying to call. I'm trying to call the number that Sigmund gave me. I'm trying to call the number, and every time I called, nobody answered the phone. Okay, nobody answered the phone. I'm trying to call. Nobody's answering. Calling all times of the day. Nobody's answering. And I'm like, man, maybe they have caller ID. They're just not answering me because they have caller ID. And then we had a magazine back in the day. It was called Wizard Magazine. That was comic book artists. That was comic book fans' internet back then. That's when you found out all the breaking stories. That's when you found out when all the new books were announced. So Wizard Magazine was the magazine. And then they did a feature on Dreamwave. And then I remember reading this interview with Pat Lee where he was like, "Oh man, I got 3 pages to draw today. Good thing I just woke up." And it was at midnight. They said he said that he woke up at midnight. And then it clicked. I'm like, aha. These guys are night owls. So I called the studio at 3 o'clock in the morning. 3 o'clock in the morning. And somebody picked up the phone. Who picked up the phone? It was Pat Lee's brother, Roger Lee. Again, Roger's a really, really fun guy. Great guy to karaoke with, by the way. Roger, even Pat. Some of these guys don't know this. Pat Lee, some of you don't even know who Pat Lee is, but he owned the studio at the time. They have amazing voices. We loved karaokeing together back in the day. We would always karaoke back in the day. But anyway, Roger picked up, and he picks up the phone. He's very skeptical. He's like, "Hello?" He's like that. And then I told him, "Hi, my name is James. I got this number from Sigmund. I met him at a con, and he liked my stuff. I was wondering if I could come in and show you my stuff." And he was like, "Okay, come in tonight at 9 p.m. Come in tonight at 9 p.m. So that's where I got the chance to talk to them. So I came into the studio, 9 p.m. that night, met Pat and Roger. They were outside. They were smoking. And I talked to them for a little bit. I told them I was looking for an internship. Because I was required one from my school. And they said, "Okay." Pat's like, "Okay, come on up to my office. Let's take a look at your work." So we went to his office, and then he started flipping through my stuff, right? And I'll be honest, all my figure work, he didn't care for. You could see on the face, where they were just like, oh, yeah, you know, it was just like, okay, all right, Jim Lee clone, blah, blah, blah. But then they don't do that style, okay? So I wasn't expecting on them giving me an actual book to work on. But then one thing that I did, because I noticed in the credits of their comic book, that they hired background artists. Pat had a background artist that would go in, and so he would draw the figures, and then somebody else would draw the backgrounds. Like, he was so popular, and to be honest, like, it really is the figure work that sells the book. So let's be honest about that. So it was, you know, he was looking for, it was an art assistant. He had art assistants. So one thing I put in my portfolio, and this is point number 2, Mario. Point number 2, make sure that in your portfolio you have a sample of things they might be looking for. Okay, so if you were wanting to get a job in Marvel, draw Marvel characters. I'll get into that more, why that's important a little bit later on. You know, if you want to draw for DC, draw DC characters. Show that you can draw DC characters. It helps, okay? It's not the be-all, end-all, because if you draw it badly, if they had to choose between someone who drew a Captain America very well and somebody who drew a Wolverine badly, drew a Superman badly, DC's going to hire the guy who drew Captain America. That's just how it is, okay? But it helps. So one thing I did was I saw there were 2 covers of Warlands and Dark Minds that didn't have a background. So I actually blew those up. I photocopied it. Back in the day, we photocopied, guys. I photocopied it. I blew it up. I traced it. And then I drew a hyper detailed background behind it. Remember, guys, I took technical illustration. So drawing backgrounds was my thing. That was my thing. So I did that, and Pat Lee saw that in my portfolio, and he stops. And he's looking at those 2 pages, and he looked at them for a long time. And he's like, these are great. These are fantastic. We look for a background artist, right? Your backgrounds are great. And when he said that, and then these are blessings, right? When he said that, all of a sudden Roger barges into the room. He goes, hey, Pat, we have this issue of Neon Cyber that needs to go out. We don't have a background for artists for it. What should we do? And he looks at me and he goes, are you free tonight? So, lesson number 2, guys. Right place, right time. Right place, right time. And so, that was my very, very first official published work. Neon Cyber number 5. I did like a 3/4 of a page. 3/4, because I was so slow, guys. I was so slow. But Pat liked my work so much that he wanted me, my first job for my internship was to do backgrounds for a crossover he was doing with Top Cow. He was doing a Dark Minds Witchblade crossover. And what I did for him was I actually laid out some of the pages and I did all the backgrounds. So that was my one of my first official books was Dark Minds Witchblade. So I did, in a roundabout way, get to work for Top Cow at the end of the day, in a roundabout way. So I worked for Dreamwave, and we could, the Transformers, that's a whole different story, but the point of this is how I actually got my foot in the door. Okay? So let me tell you how I got the job at DC. DC was the next place I worked after that, okay? Now, while I was working at Dreamwave, it was very obvious to me that aside from Transformers, I wasn't going to get the opportunity to work on any books with figures. Okay, that wasn't Transformers, and I wanted to work on things that were other than Transformers. So, back in the day, there was a message board run by a guy named Warren Ellis. Okay, so Warren Ellis back then, a very, very prolific comic book writer. Okay. I forgot the name of the message board. I forgot, but I would post there. I would post my artwork there. I would do samples. I would do samples, and I would post it in that forum. And Warren Ellis took notice. He took notice of my work, and he liked my work. Warren Ellis liked my work. So. So one day he emails me, And he says, "Hey James, I have this book I'd like to do. It was actually for an indie company. It was an indie company. I forgot. It was something tree. I forgot." He goes, "What would you like to draw it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'd love to draw it." But at that time, I was actually busy with I had commitments with Dreamwave, so I couldn't do it. And then came another opportunity where Warren, he messaged me again, and he said, "Hey, look, I have this book that I'm going to publish with DC. It's called Tokyo Storm Warning. Okay, it's called Tokyo Storm Warning. It's about these pilots with big giant mechs. I think you'd be perfect for it." And at that time, my work with Dreamwave was languishing, and I decided to take it. So that's how I got my second job. So point number 2, Mario. Second way I was able to start working in comics or get a job at the big 2. Contacts are everything. So one way you could get into Marvel or DC, guys, one way is to find a writer who wants to work with you. Because writers in comics, they have a lot of say in who they work with. A lot of them are very, very particular in who they want to work with. So I was able to get that Tokyo Storm Warning job because I made contacts with a writer. Okay? So especially nowadays, guys, when it comes to this day in social media, don't just buddy with editors. I would try to make friends with writers, and you know what? I'll get it. Remind me, guys. I'm gonna get into how I would contact these people today. I would tell you guys how I would contact these people today. How I would go about it. It might be a little different than you would think, but we'll get to that in a second. But that's another way to start breaking in. You gets in contact with the right people, okay? But writers is a very underrated way of trying to get a job at Marvel or DC. Get in touch with writers who do regular work for them. And then maybe they could recommend you to work there, okay? So that's another way you could get in. Now, I messed up that job. I'll tell you right off the bat. I messed up my first job go around in Marvel or at DC. I really messed it up. Okay, my fault. I was late. Not only was I late, I made excuses why I was late. Okay, I'll get into that another day. Like, these were big mistakes I made as a comic book artist. Maybe I'll even make a video about that one of these days. But huge mistakes I made as a comic book artist, and that was definitely one. I was extremely late. It was my fault I was late, and I blamed other people because I was late. Okay, then that's immaturity. That's really immaturity at that time. Okay, so, but anyway, a little bit off tangent. So then, after that, I didn't have much work after that, and it was a hard time too because I just got married at that time, and I started sending my samples around to everybody, and you get little nibbles here and there, but not really. And then I got contacted by Ivan Cohen, who was editing Wonder Woman at the time. Okay, I was trying to get in contact with all these editors, so I would actually email all these editors. So yes, we did have email back then, guys. We did have email back then, so I would email all the editors. Okay, so that's another way, Mario. Try to email those contacts. Okay, but again, I'll tell you guys how I would do that today. Okay, so back then, again, we didn't have Twitter back then. We didn't have Instagram. We didn't have direct contact, but I did have their emails. Okay, so I did email them samples. And then Ivan Cohen emailed me back and said, "Hey, we need someone to fill in on Wonder Woman. We need someone to fill in on Wonder Woman." So I got the opportunity to work on Wonder Woman at the time. So I did 2 issues of Wonder Woman. Again, I was very late. There's a lot of things I wish I would have done better. When I was working in comics, maybe I would have had a much longer career in comics. But then again, I'm not sad about it because it did lead me to my career, the career I had. But anyway, again, that's another long story about blowing deadlines. Okay? But, so, after Wonder Woman, I had a long period where I had no work whatsoever. Comic book industry, it's really tough. Okay, it's really tough when you're starting out. You're always trying to find the next job, and sometimes it's hard to find the next job. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, what was my job after that? Wonder Woman. I think I went back to Dream. Oh, okay. Here's where we get to Marvel, Mario. Here's where we get back to Marvel. Okay. I needed money. Okay, I needed money. You know, my wife, God bless her heart, she was the one paying all the bills. She was a nurse, right? She was the one with a stable job, and I was doing my best to try to make it as a comic book artist. So I decided to go back to Dreamwave. And I talked to Pat, and he's like, okay, you know, we have some concept work for you to do, and we have all this stuff to work on. Okay, I'm like, all right, let's do that, because I need to do something. I need to work. Literally, guys, 5 days later, I get a message from CB Cebulski. CB Cebulski is the current editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics right now. Okay, I get a message from him, and he goes to me, "Hey James, we have this backup Spider-Man story we'd like you to do. It was a backup Spider-Man story we would like you to do." Okay. By the way, guys, you know, during that time when I was off, I would visit these conventions, and again, I was bringing around my portfolio to all these conventions, and I met CB at a convention as well, and he saw my portfolio. He gave me a lot of tips, a lot of wonderful tips. So I knew CB through a convention. Okay, so just wanted to make sure that I just didn't meet him out of the blue. No, I contacted him earlier. Okay, forgive my story to be a little out of place. You know, old guy, old guy. I got a lot on my mind. But anyway, he's like, yeah, we want you to draw this Spider-Man story. But I just agreed to go back and help out Pat. I just agreed. So, you know, I was talking to Sigmund, and Sigmund's like, "Oh, James, you know, do what you can, man. Work nights, work evenings. You know, you don't get an opportunity like this, right?" And I was trying, like, I didn't know. And then CB knew I was doing work for Pat. He's like, hey, James, you know what? Don't worry about it. We'll have a lot more projects coming up. We'll have a lot more projects coming up. Don't worry. We have your contact. We love your stuff. We'll have more work for you down the road. It's okay. It's okay. We'll come back to you. We'll give you something else later on. And then I didn't hear from CB for another 2 years. Another 2 years, guys. 2 years. I let the opportunity pass me by. Okay. Now, if you would have asked me, would I go back and change it? Would I have gone back and actually took that Spider-Man job? If I'm 100% honest with you, yes, I probably would have. Because it's hard when opportunities come, because you don't know when the next opportunity is going to go. But at the same time, you want to make sure you could do the job, because it would have been just as detrimental if I would have said yes, and then I was extremely late and stuff. Okay? Because that would have meant I wouldn't get work from them anymore after that. Okay? So, my mind's a little foggy because I decided to, this was a last minute decision for me to start talking about this. But the next time I worked at Marvel, it was on chance, okay? And then here's another example, Mario, where showing you could do the job matters, okay? So I built this website. Back then, we had something called GeoCities. I don't know if any of you guys know that. We didn't have Wix back then, or Squarespace, or any of these great website builders, okay? So we had GeoCities. So I started posting some of my art on GeoCities, okay? And I had this Hulk piece that I really, really, really liked. This Hulk piece. And I put that up. And then one day, out of the blue, okay? I wasn't looking for a job. Just out of the blue, I get an email from Marvel. From a guy named Nathan Cosby. Mark Panciana. I think that's his name, Mark Panciana. He's still working in Marvel, if I'm not mistaken, or he might not be. I don't know. But really, really nice guy. But he emails me, and he goes, "Hey James, we saw your pinup of Hulk, So this is a time where a pinup actually got me the job. Well, also I had comic book experience. So that's why they were more willing to take a chance on me, because I had comic book experience. But the music stopped, by the way. Let's see here. Is music still going, guys? I don't know if it's... it's the last one. Okay. Let me know when the music stops. He said, hey, look, we need to fill in. We're behind on this book. It's called Hulk Destruction. And we saw an image you drew of the Hulk. And we think that you could do a good job to help us out. Okay? So, here's another way you could get in comics, guys. Okay? Usually, an editor contacts you for a job when they're in a rut. When there is nowhere else to turn, and they have no choice but to get somebody new to fill in on a book. Okay? And then that's what happened. That's what happened. They had no choice but to try to find someone to help on the book, because they were so behind. So this was literally on a Friday, guys. This is a Friday. I get that email. They said, can we call you? So they picked up the phone, and Mark called me. Mark called me, and he's like, so would you be able to do it? I'm like, yeah, I'd love to. Absolutely. And then he was like, can you start today? That's how far behind they were, guys. That's how far behind they were. He's like, can you start today? So that's when I started working for Marvel. And then they gave me a lot of time, but then they started realizing I could do the job, because I said, I'm not going to mess this up this time, guys. In my heart, I was like, no, there's no way I'm messing up this opportunity now. I messed up so many opportunities. And let me just start recording again here, guys. 1 second. Just fixing the camera here, dudes. Okay. I said to myself, no way, no how am I messing up this opportunity. So they gave me a few months to finish it off, but I finished it off way faster than that. Way faster. And because of my performance, because they enjoyed what I did, then they gave me more Marvel work. Okay? And then after that, I got a job at DC, and that was my last comic book job, because I decided to go back to school. And do computer animation. So, long, convoluted way to show you how I personally got into comic books, guys. And again, a lot of those techniques, the basics you could use today. Like things you could learn. Number one, contact. Who you could contact. Who do you need to get to know people in the industry, okay? People are more apt to hire their friends over talent. I'll tell you that right now. I've seen it so many times in many different industries. So no matter what you want to do, if you guys want to go into concept art, if you want to go into comic books or whatever, okay? I will tell you right now, okay, of course you've got to be a good artist, but if you have two artists that have very similar quality, but one of them is good friends with the person hiring and one isn't, even if the good friend is slightly less talented than the other guy, he's going to get the job. That's just reality, okay? Whether it's fair or not, and it's probably not fair, but that's just the reality. That's what's going to happen. They are more apt to hire the person they know, or give the person with the benefit of the doubt, if they are friends with them or if they know them, okay? So for those of you guys who want to be comic book artists, try to get to know people in the industry, okay? So how would I do that today? I would not try to contact these people for the first time, and the very first thing you say to them is, hey guys, hey man, look at my art. I'm looking to get a job in comics. I would not do that. Don't do that, guys. Don't do that. Okay? Telling you right now, don't do that. Okay? This is what you do. Okay? First of all, what you need to do is to be, number one, be genuinely, and this is very important. Genuinely be interested in things that they talk about online. Okay? So you see an editor online, follow them, and then follow what they say. right there. And then when they make a post, and again, this is where genuine comes in, okay? Genuine. If they make a post that resonates with you, comment. Start building a conversation on Twitter with them, okay? Lots of these editors are on Twitter, okay? Start building conversations with them. Start talking to them. Don't let the very first thing they hear from you is, hey, I'm an artist, I want to get a job. Give me a job. No, don't do that. Because subconsciously, even that to them, they're like, they just want to be with, they just want to talk to me because I have a job. No. Don't do it that way. Go, give your 2 cents. Give your 2 cents. What are they talking about? And then comment. Comment on what they say. Don't just go, hey, nice comment. Comments, give some feedback, give your own experience. And then just start trying to talk to them online, okay? Start to try to talk to them online. And guys, this is for anyone who wants to get into any business. Let me give you an example here. A lot of you guys want to be YouTubers, right? A lot of you guys want to be YouTubers. And a lot of you guys try to go up to a YouTuber, a big YouTuber, and right away, the first thing you say to them is collab with me. Collab with me. I'm the best. I'm the best. And by the way, you're right. He does have five fingers, doesn't he? I messed up. I've been drawing a lot of three-finger characters recently. That is why. That is my excuse. So let me see if I can add another finger here. That looks weird. I messed up this hand. But good thing I'm an ink master. I can figure it out. But thank you for those people who told me I did that wrong. Okay. But if you want to get a collab with a big YouTuber, right? You have to give them value first before that YouTuber will actually say, hey, let's collab. You got to give them a reason to collab with you. Or else why would they collab with you? Their time is important. The editor's time is important. Okay? So ask yourself, why would they give you the time of day? Because they're busy enough trying to get their own, trying to make their own lives work. Okay? You have to give them a reason to help you. Okay? You got to give them that reason. So you find a reason. How can you be valuable to that particular person? Okay? So that applies to Comic Book Art. That applies to you people who want to collab with a YouTuber that's much bigger than you. How can you be valuable to them? Okay, and I mentioned this many times on stream before. Okay, so don't just go up to them and go, hey, collab with me. Hey, shout out my channel. Hey, give me a comic book job. No, get to know them first. Talk to them online. Get them to know you. And then maybe down the line, you could start putting up your artwork. And maybe they'll give you feedback, honest feedback of your work afterwards, after they get to know you. After they get to know you, okay? That's how I would go about it today, all right? That's how I would go about it today. Let your portfolio, Mario, be nothing but sequential art, okay? Be it all sequential art. Show you could do the job, right? And I mentioned this before, Mario. Show you could do the job. So all sequential art. Show them you could handle different situations. Show them you could handle a single person. Show them you could handle teams. Okay. Show them you could handle backgrounds. You know how to draw background. Okay. A lot of these things you need to prove that you could do, and make sure that your portfolio proves it. And if you're lucky enough to get an editor to reply to you and give you feedback, number one, and this is for all of you guys, okay? All of you guys. Number one, do not, and I repeat, do not argue with the person reviewing your art. Do not argue with them, okay? Do not make excuses for your art, okay? When they say, oh, this looks a little weird here, and then you're like, no, the reason I drew it that way was because, the sun's here, this is why I drew. Here's the deal, guys, with art, okay? Here's the deal with art, okay? If someone doesn't like your art, they're right. To them, they are right, okay? You can't force someone to like something they don't like, okay? So you cannot And I repeat this, guys. You cannot go there and just argue and think you're going to win that argument. Okay? Well, you could argue until you're blue in the face. It's not going to help you. All right? You could try to convince them why you made certain choices, but that doesn't change their perception of your art. It doesn't. So it's a lose-lose game. Okay? Even if you feel strongly disagree in what they say about your art, just sit there and listen. Okay? And try to ask yourself, okay, if this editor didn't like your art, and they're telling you why they don't like your art, okay, listen, do they have a point? Okay? Especially if it's an editor in Marvel or DC, okay? And then once you do that, what you do, you go back, you make a new set of samples that take into consideration what their advice to you. So you need to go and do another sample, okay, with their comments in mind. And then a month later, go back to them or tweet them again and go, hey, I understood what you said about this, this, and that. I tried that here. Did I do it right? Okay? And what do you show when you do that? Because remember, they're not just judging your art, okay? They're not just judging your art when you come up and show them your work, okay? They're judging you. They're judging you, okay? You understand? They're wondering, if I do hire this person, who am I hiring? Am I going to hire somebody who's going to yell every single time I tell them to make a change for the work? Okay? They're gonna ask themselves that. Are you going to be difficult to work with? And the people who complain, I'm telling you right now, they don't hire those people. They don't. Okay? People who try to defend their artwork to the death, they're not going to hire those people. They're not. They're just not, because you're not worth the headache. They already know so many artists who will listen to their comments. Why would they hire someone who doesn't? Okay? Your artwork has to be it has to be making them tons of money for them to put up with that. Okay? So that's something that you got to understand. Okay? Whenever you're going to meet these particular editors. Okay? So that's the mindset you should have. So that was a long way, convoluted way to answer your question there, Mario. I hope I answered your question. But that's how I would go about trying to get a comic book job today. Now, how do you meet these editors? Okay. Number one, I would say the easiest right now is Twitter. But if you want to look more professional, I say get on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the way more professional way to contact, because people on LinkedIn, it's a professional website. So those are people who are looking for jobs. Okay. So if I would get on LinkedIn, I would do both. I would definitely do both. If I was trying to get a comic book job today, that's what I would do. I would definitely do both. Okay, Mario, that's my long answer. That's my 1 hour long answer to your question today. And that's all I have time for. No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I'm just joking, guys. I am just joking. I'm a joker. I'm the Joker here. So let's go to another question. So thank you for your question, Mario. There you go. The long and detailed answer, and hopefully that helped, my friend. Okay, so let's do a question that's not as long. Okay, so there you go. Let's go. So here's a very, very profound question coming from JP Comics. Here's a profound question. What would you do if a giant floating tuna in your room appeared right now? Floating tuna? I'd break out the knife and fork, my friend. I'm on carnivore diet. I'm on a carnivore diet right now, so I'm ready to go. So that'd be a blessing to have a giant tuna just show up in my room. So thank you for the question there, JP Comics. Oh, by the way, I do want to go back to a question from yesterday because it came in the last minute, but I do want to answer it. Number one, because it's from my buddy New York. He goes, what type of videos will you be uploading from now on? That's a wonderful question. Okay, so number one, I am planning to stream a lot more often. Will it be every day? I don't want to promise that yet. not until I could prove that I could do this a little bit more consistently. I don't want to tell you guys I'm going to be streaming every day and then 2-3 days from now I don't stream. Okay, so I don't want to say that, but I do want to say that I'll be streaming more consistently than I have been ever. Okay, ever. All right. Number 2, I'm doing more things that are out of the box. Let's just say that. A little more things that are out of the box. I'm not going to do much movie content like I used to. And I know that, I'm the box office artist. I know that's why a lot of people subscribe to me. But I want to start doing a little bit more of these like Marvel style type videos. I really do, because they're fun. Okay? So it's keeping that Marvel style drawing, but then doing it in a way that interests me more. I'm not interested right now. For example, like I'm not interested in doing like a Wakanda movie poster. Okay, the interest is not there. Maybe down the line, but right now, I'd much rather do the Sonic than something like that. Okay, I much rather do the Sonic piece than that right now, because not because I won't enjoy the movie. I'm excited. I'm more than excited to see the movie, and not saying I won't do a Black Panther thing. So. I have a Black Panther video that is coming out very soon, okay? I want it out today. It doesn't look like it's going to happen today. You never know. It might happen today. But what I did was I bought a Black Panther Lego mech. Okay, it was very cheap. It was only like $13, right? Very cheap. And I drew it in a most detailed drawing ever style. That's what I did, okay? So it doesn't really relate to the movie, but it got me to do something that's a little bit more creative in that sense. And I had so much fun doing it. And that video should be popping out very soon. We're working on the edit right now. And hopefully that will be out maybe tomorrow? Maybe tomorrow? But stuff like that. That's what I'm going to be doing. That's the type of videos I'll be doing. Okay? So more on the fun side, and then more videos where I'm going to interact with you guys just a bit more, okay? Because one thing I kind of lost sight on was the people that helped me build what I have. I really did. So, so that's one thing that we're definitely going to be doing more is more audience participation, as we say. Audience participation, you guys helping me out in my videos, okay? We're going to do a lot more of that, okay? Maybe we'll do more of create a character style videos. That would be fun, right? We could do more of that kind of stuff. So you guys give me design choices, and then maybe I'll build it, right? Maybe we could do more of that type of stuff, okay? So thank you, New York, for that particular question. Okay, but let's go back to today's question thread. And again, guys, if you want to ask me a question, and because I'm going to be here for another 3 hours, so make sure that you get your questions in, okay? So, okay, let's buy news first. Okay, so let's go back down. Let's see here. Steven Cisneros asks, will you ever do a massive crossover image of Optimus Prime? All the Gundams, all the mechs from Pacific Rim, all the Megazords from Power Rangers, certain kaiju mechs like Mechagodzilla 3, aka Kryu. Is it Kryu? And many more, like a Super Robot War style cover and in a chibi art style. Sure. The answer is yes. We'll do that tomorrow. No, we're not going to do that. First of all, if I were to do that, number one, I wouldn't do it in a chibi art style. Let's say that. If I'm going to draw those, because those are all things I love to draw, if I'm going to do that, I'm drawing it the way I want to draw it. I get to choose. I get to choose, guys. I get to choose. If I wanted to draw that, okay. If I wanted to draw that, I would draw my style. Number two, if I were to actually draw what you said, that would take me over a year to draw. There's just no way I'd be able to draw all of that. You know how many Gundams there are? Like, I've been to the Gundam store in Japan. Like, oh my, there are hundreds of Gundams out there. Because I was thinking about doing it, if I thought it was worth my time, because that's a big time commitment. Like everything I draw right now, it's a time commitment to me. right? That, and you know me, I hate drawing things for a long, long, long period of time unless there was something in there that caught my interest. And the thing with the Gundams that some of them are so similar in look or in the way that they're drawn, where it just wouldn't be as interesting to me. It just wouldn't be. Not to mention the fact that, let's be honest, it's not going to get views per se. But then again, I'm not really in for the views these days. But it just doesn't seem like a good way to invest my time. Like a lot of this stuff is like a time investment, right? So all of those I might do individually, maybe. Like for example, the Power Rangers. Like I love Power Rangers. I absolutely love Power Rangers, guys. You know, when that Power Rangers movie came out years ago, what was that, 2017? Or no, even younger than that. That was like 2015, 2014, when the Power Rangers movie came out. The company I was working for, we were working on that movie. We were working on that Power Rangers movie. I was the only Power Rangers fan in that entire company. I had a Power Rangers poster on my desk. And they didn't give me any shots. We worked on Wonder Woman. We worked on Power Rangers. And they didn't give me any shots of any of those movies. Now, the reason was because not that they were just trying, they were trying to say, oh, James likes it, don't give it to him. They didn't do that. No, it was more I was working on another project and I was the only matte painter on that project. So they needed me on that project. That's why they didn't give me any shots from those movies. But I was the only fan of those franchises. They did not give me anything. Like, what's up with that? So, but I would actually love to draw a piece with all the Megazords in it. I actually would love to do that one of these days. But again, it's one of those things where it's such a time commitment. It's so much of a time commitment, and the amount of detail I actually want to put in each one of those. Mechs, of those Zords. I don't think I'll be able to do that. It's just too much of a time commitment in that sense. So the music stopped, guys. I'm gonna play another music thing. And by the way, again, hello to everyone in the chat. I'm spending a lot longer on this one, mainly because it's the first one. I usually find when I'm drawing the first one, it's always the one that takes me the longest. Same thing happened last time, so I don't mind spending a little bit longer because it's in the center of the drawing. Okay, so let's play. Hold on, I'm just gonna play a playlist here. And then a shout out to Epidemic Sound. They don't sponsor this channel, but they do give me a good copyright-free music because I pay them. There you go. By the way, guys, I remember there were some people who said, messaged me, they go, James, I use the music in your video. Hope you don't mind. And I was like, I don't mind. A lot of people use that music, but remember, it's not me who's gonna copyright claim your video. It's Epidemic Sound that will, because I pay for the music. So make sure that I don't want you guys to lose your monetization or get people not being able to see your videos because you're using that music, right? So know that, guys. If you ever try to rip a piece of music from my videos, and I don't mind, I've done that myself. But understand that Epidemic Sound, they own all this music. So, and I pay them handsomely for their music. Well, I pay them the regular fee, but what can you do now? Let's see here. So, I forgot what I was talking about, guys. Let's talk about music. But anyway, whatever my question was, hopefully you'll do that. So, by the way, all the people in the chat right now, if you want to ask me a question, a lot of you are asking me questions in the chat, please go to the community tab and ask your questions there. That is where I'm going to be answering questions like this one. Here from Alaria TCG. Alaria TCG says, hey, James, hope you're doing well, man. Hello. I pray for you and your family, and thank you so much. And I'm grateful for your artistic influence on me. Thank you so much again. What are your thoughts on David Finch? You mentioned before he's an inspiration to you. How would you rank his art among the greats? Bummer, I always seem to miss these streams, but I love watching them. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And yes, I love David. Been a fan of David for a long, long, long time. Ever since he started at Top Cow. I believe he was, like all of these Image Comics artists, they always had that one apprentice, one protege artist that kind of drew like the founder of that company. And they have that style for a little bit, and then they go off, and then they just crush it on their own with their new style. Let's give you an example. For example, for Jim Lee, when Jim Lee started Wildstorm, it was called Homage Studios back in the day, before they started calling it Wildstorm. He had this talent search, and the winner of the talent search was a guy named Brett Booth. And I am absolutely loving Brett Booth's work these days. Brett Booth has this thing on his Patreon right now where he's recreating all of Image Comics' most famous covers ever. And he's been doing it for months now, and they're all fantastic. They all look amazing. So one of my favorite artists to this day, Brett Booth, doing a great job. So he started off as a pure Jim Lee clone, and then he just totally took it into a whole new direction. Let's think about all the artists and their clones. And David Finch kind of was like that. Like he was like one of the first guys that Mark Silvestri hired in Top Cow to kind of like take over for him. So starting on Cyberforce, like I used to love his stuff on Cyberforce, and he would do all these books for Top Cow, and I'd absolutely love his stuff. Now back then, and this is coming from an outsider's point of view, for those of you guys who watch his streams, I'm sure he's told these stories many, many times. But back then, from an outsider's point of view, like he was very, quote-unquote, slow as all of these Image Comics artists were back in the day, right? They, the books weren't coming out regularly. So he wouldn't have a lot of books out fast, like a little bit later on. And we were all wondering what would happen to him. And then he got the job in Marvel. Then he started doing work, and then, I believe I was reading how Joe Quesada really took him under his wing. And again, you could ask him that. You could ask him to tell you his story. I shouldn't be telling you his story. A lot of you guys watch him. A lot of you guys tell his story. But when he started working on Avengers, like everyone really, that's when he like kind of shot up into superstardom and comic book superstardom. And he was my favorite artist. He was one of my favorite artists of all time. I always talk about the artists that I look up to when I was doing comic books. David Finch is right up there, probably number one, especially when the way he drew the Hulk. Even to this day, that inspired me. The way David Finch draws the Hulk, like Dale Keown to me is still the quintessential Hulk artist, right? He's the one most known for doing the Hulk, but I absolutely love David's style when it comes to doing the Hulk, drawing the Hulk. The way he drew him in Avengers Disassembled, it's just amazing, right? And then he just started pumping out work, right? Went to DC, started killing it on Batman over there, and everything he worked on, did incredible stuff, and he's just a wonderful guy. When I got to start knowing him over the past couple of years, amazing guy, and deserves all the success that he has, right? So definitely one of the biggest artistic influence of my, like you can see, look at my art, man. Look at my art. I'm the David Finch clone, man. That's what I am. I'm the David Finch wannabe. And I always have been. You guys know that. So, of course, love his stuff, and I'm sure you guys watch his streams every Monday. Him and Meredith, they do a fantastic job. Last time I talked to David, it was a Comic-Con. It might have been last year. That's how long ago it was. But yeah, love David. He's doing some fantastic things over here. Great artist, and even greater YouTuber now. He's really killing it on the YouTube side. But I know all of you guys are learning so much from watching his videos. So. I wish I was a night guy like he is, so I could maybe I get more views if I drew these things in the nighttime. Let's see here. Next question. Hey James, Arturus says, "Hey James, I hope you are good. I'm a really big fan, and I started drawing because of you. Thank you so much. I'm currently in middle school, so I'm hoping you mean grade 8 because nobody under 13 watches my channel, right, Copa?" And I want to start a channel, but every time I feel like drawing, I don't feel like recording. What should I do? Well, you should give up. No, I'm just joking. First of all, realize, okay, you're in middle school. You're 13. There's plenty of time. If you are, first of all, don't, and I say this for all of you that are watching that are younger, okay? And, I'm not mean to the fact that a lot of you guys are like, call me Uncle James. You call me your uncle, as we call in the Philippines, Tito James. All of you guys, I want you to call me Tito Boy, okay? Tito Boy. That's all of you in the Philippines. There, you call me Tito Boy. That's my new name for all of you in the Philippines. First of all, realize you're young and there's plenty of time. Now, Mr. Beast started when he was 13. When did he catch fire? How old was he? 18. That's when he started getting traction, okay? So 5 years of him doing YouTube, and he really he loved it so much, he really wanted to do YouTube. And he pushed and grinded for 5 years before he started getting any traction on his channel, okay? So, number one, be patient and forgive yourself, Arcticus. Forgive yourself if you don't want to draw or, if you can't get started. That's one of the hardest things ever to do is start, okay? But you do need to start eventually. You do, okay? So I would say, first of all, pick something that you enjoy drawing. Don't try to draw something because you think it will get views. Don't try to draw at this point in time. If you want to draw on camera, pick something that you actually like drawing. But maybe if this was last year or like 2 years ago, if this was like 2019, 2018, don't start your channel off by trying to customize a water bottle or try to customize something that you've never drawn on before, or trying to draw something that you saw is getting views, so you want to try it because you think you could do it. No, don't start your channel off that way. Start drawing things that you like to do. Because if you draw things that you like to draw, okay, you got to like drawing it. It doesn't matter if people don't like seeing those things. It doesn't matter at this point. You're just starting. This is for everyone starting a YouTube channel right now. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if people are going to watch it or not, because you're just starting out. This is the time not to try to get views. This is the time to find your voice on YouTube. What do you like to do? Okay? What can you offer that's different than everybody else out there? There's billions of people trying to be a YouTuber these days. Billions. Okay? Well, I don't say billions. There's like 7 billion, but millions. Definitely millions. Definitely millions of people want to do YouTube these days. Okay? What's going to get you through those times where you don't want to? What's going to get you through those times that you actually don't want to turn on the camera? You don't want to make videos. What's going to get you through those times is pick a project that excites you. Okay? Pick a drawing subject matter that you would have drawn whether the camera is on or off. Okay? Start there. And the more you do it, the more you start just recording yourself, the better you're going to get. Okay, so tomorrow, maybe I'll give more YouTube advice tomorrow. Okay, because I know a lot of you here, you'd love to be a YouTuber one day, or you'd like to be an art YouTuber one day. I'll give you guys a whole bunch of advice tomorrow. Maybe we could do something like that. Okay. Am I only going to draw one character today? Oh, let's see. Sorry, guys. This is taking me way longer just because I'm yapping. Yappity yap, 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 James. James is the yappity yapper. Yappity yapper. So that, be patient, take your time, don't beat yourself up because you didn't start drawing. Okay, take your time. Okay, and it'll eventually happen. Okay, or it'll eventually happen where you're more comfortable. Okay, and then once you're you know, once you get in that groove, once you start recording more consistently, then you can start tweaking your content more. Okay, but again, I'll give you guys a more better answer tomorrow. I'll give you guys a better answer tomorrow, because that is a good long topic to do here on YouTube. Okay, so definitely something to think about. But thank you for the awesome question there, my friend Articus. Okay. Nugget Slayer 75 says, I might not join the live stream, but I still want to ask you, will you ever draw Mobile Legends Bang Bang? Maybe. And I want to thank you guys for introducing me to that game, Mobile Legends Bang Bang. A lot of you mentioned that when I was drawing the Valorant drawing. So maybe one day I will be doing a little bit more video content. I'm thinking about maybe let's do a Clash of Clans piece. I think that would be a lot of fun to draw a Clash of Clans in a in my style, in my quasi Marvel style here. So maybe one day we will see. In fact, guys, if you have any suggestions of anything really, of that you would like me to try in my style that we could do in these streams, by all means, let me know, and that's definitely one of them. Mobile Legends Bang Bang. We'll see. Okay. Let's go here. Chris M. Draws. Are you posting more content on your main channel than posting on a separate channel? And here's the second question. What's your favorite MCU Infinity Saga and opinion about it? Favorite MCU Infinity Saga movie? I'll assume you mean movie there, Chris M. Draws. I'll assume you mean movie there. But anyway. Let's start with what my plans are going forward with this channel. And I mentioned them yesterday, but just very briefly, yes, I do not plan on, because YouTube has changed the way the videos are arranged on YouTube now. There's really no reason to separate the channels now. There really isn't. Now that they have a live stream tab. They have a shorts tab, they have a regular video tab, and there might even I think they're developing a podcast tab as well. Now, why do you need all separate channels now? You don't. You really don't. And because most people today, now I know some of you don't still go to the subscription feed, but most people they actually get their what they want to watch through the homepage as opposed to the subscription feed. Like before, I was just I was just worried that when YouTube recommends a video, they're going to recommend a video that they're not going to watch, right? But these days, the algorithm has gotten so good where they're like, oh, you like James's podcast? I'm going to share with you James's podcast style videos. Okay, so the algorithm and the way YouTube works now, it's much better suited where I could keep everything on one channel. Than before, having shorts on your channel kind of hurt it in terms of your long form content. Like if you had a short that went viral, people still didn't watch your long form content. That's why you see channels. And it's ridiculous. You'll have channels with like shorts with like 100 million views, but you go to their regular video, and that regular video only has like 2,000 to 3,000 views. I've seen that so many times. So it actually made no sense to actually keep the long form videos and the short form videos on the same channel. Now it does. So that is why I probably am going to hold off anymore on the shorts channel and on the live stream channel. Now things I will keep though. Things I will keep is the quote unquote artwork channel, the formal live channel. So what I'm going to be doing there is uploading I won't say real time, but at least an hour-long version of my artwork, and that's for you guys. That's for you guys who like watching me just drawing. Don't care for any fancy editing or the little fluff I put in my videos, but that you just want to see me draw. That channel is for you. Okay, so you can just go there and just watch me put together a piece, some of my older pieces, right? So that's something that we're gonna do over there. And then the other one I'm going to keep, well, I think I might turn the current studio channel, because right now the studio is this. This is our studio right now. This is our time together, this channel. The studio channel, I think I'm going to actually change it to my vlog channel. And that, to be honest, that's how that channel started off. I created that channel to do vlogs. A long, long time ago, I created that channel to do vlogs. So we're just going to return to that. Return to that because there's so much I want to show you guys about my journey, my new journey. And I think that'd be a fantastic place to share it. Okay, so those are the 3 channels I'm keeping. The podcast channel and the shorts channel. I think those are the 2 that will probably go away. Maybe the podcast channel. Maybe I'll turn that into a clips channel. Maybe like a highlight clips channel. But that won't be for a long time because I would need help to do that. I probably don't have time to do that on my own. I would need to hire somebody to do that. But I'll be honest, guys, too. One thing I learned when I was doing when I had the guys working here with me. Some people just aren't cut out to be businessmen or women. Like, I'm a creative. You guys know that. I'm a creative. I rather create than run a business itself. So running a business, it was really hard for me. You know, to keep on top of everything, keeping the finances, making sure everybody's paid, taxes are paid, like all that stuff. It's all stuff. I don't think anybody wants to do this. So let's be honest. Nobody really enjoys doing that stuff. It's stuff that needs to be done when you're running a business. And unless you're going to partner with somebody and give them a lot of equity in your company, it's kind of hard to do on your own, right? So that's just definitely something to. So if I'm going to hire somebody again, I don't know. I'm a little hesitant about it. I would rather make less money and do it on my own than hire somebody. Hire somebody and then, try to be responsible because, the person you hire has a life too. You're the one responsible, especially if they work full time for you, like those guys did. I had to make sure that they were able to get their money on time so they could pay their mortgage, so that they could, they could actually live, buy food. They depend on me so they could buy food, right? And when I was losing money, and I lost a lot of money. I lost a lot of money when I was losing money. I still had enough to pay them for sure, right? It got extremely stressful. And then now that we've all parted ways, I'm not stressed anymore. I'm okay. And if videos don't do well, that's fine. I don't really care too much. It's good. It's all good. So that's how we're doing. Okay, so let me just check quickly the details here because I believe that Sonic's arms should be blue, if I'm not mistaken. But I am going to start making sure there's this distinction in color here. So this part here is going to be blue. Right here. That's the distinction right here. Right there. And all the way, probably around. So I'm just going to add a little bit of fur here like that. Just add a little bit of fur there. Maybe around the rib cage here. So I wanted to make people know that, okay, so this part here, this is going to be blue on this side. And then that is going to be, and I'll probably do this. So all under here, this is going to be blue. So I might actually darken this out a little bit more. Just because I know. That's why having a thick marker comes in handy, guys. It really comes in handy. Waffle Manatee says, that is one buff boy. The drawing is too. Just joking, my friend. Just joking. Thank you so much, my friend Waffle Boy, and thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. Appreciate it. Because he is a buff boy. Buff boy. All right. So I think we're coming to the end of this one, guys. So like we always do, I like to separate the streams with characters. Give you guys a little break in between. So I believe we're going to be drawing tails next. We're going to add tails to the mix, okay? Tails to the mix. But we will do that in a separate stream. So again, guys, if you want me to answer your questions in the next stream, please do go to the community tab, okay? Go to the community tab and go ahead and write your questions there. Let me see if I could actually show you quickly. Let me see if I can show you quickly if you don't know how to get to the community tab. Let me show you quickly. Let's see here. I believe. Let's see if this works. Yes. Okay, so these are your questions here. This is the community tab. If I go to my channel here. Okay, if I go to your channel here, okay, you go right here to the community tab, guys. Go to the community tab right here. Click on that. Okay, and go to the top post. The top post here. There's where you want to go. Click on this comment here and then write your comment here. This is where I'm answering questions. Okay? This is where I'm answering questions. All right? So there you go. So this is it. Let me just do a quick erase and then we are going to do a new stream, guys. Okay? So this is what took me about what? An hour 45. This is actually how long I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I know you guys can't hear me quickly. I noticed that I need to put my mouth near the microphone. Ah, here it is. Look at that. Can somebody donate for a brand new eraser? Somebody, I'm just joking. Somebody donate for a brand new eraser. But it still works. Look at this. Look at this. Look at that. Look at that. There you go. There you go. All right. I need my brush. I got a. Okay, so for those of you who want to answer questions, please do write that in the community tab. Okay, so I think that's about it for this particular stream. Thank you guys for watching me drawing this Sonic in a Marvel style. Please do stay tuned for the next stream where we will draw. We're gonna draw Tails. Okay, we're gonna draw Tails, and hopefully today we'll still also have some time to draw Muckles. Muckles. I'm switching my letters around. The letters are switched. We're gonna draw Knuckles after that one. Okay. So thank you guys for watching, and give me a high five. By the way, give me a high five, and I will see you guys in the next stream. Okay. So stay tuned. The stream will be up in a couple minutes. Here we go. Oh, let me turn it off here. Oh, I don't know how to turn off the stream. How do I turn off the stream? I turned it off here. Okay, I'll talk to you guys in a minute.